for 12 years, so we have some good experience, and they will each share a little bit about their areas, and then we'll talk and take some questions. All right, let's take it up.
Can everybody hear me by the microphone now? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. There we go. So one of the biggest questions that I get asked as the police chief is, what do we do for our communities besides answering calls, going out, writing traffic tickets and things like that? So about 6 years ago, we had a big change in our program, and we decided to more go into community engagement. So what is community engagement? It's the part
need to turn it on.
Anyways, what is community engagement? It's getting out in the community for our officers, having that impact. And what does that mean? So as part of that, what we did, we joined different groups. The Aurora Police Department is part of Rotary. We do several projects, service projects, getting our hands dirty. They have a great exchange program with the high school. So we have contact with individuals from other countries. We introduce them not only to Rotary, which is a service club, but also to the police department, and have ways of doing that. Other projects in our community that we are a part of, we're part of the West Community Commerce. We actually have an officer that's on the board for that. And why is that important? About 3 years ago, Colin at the bottom there, he works for State Farm in Mound, and he got a grant for $16,000 for one of our speed trailers. So one of the speed trailers that you see on Highway 12 and in our communities that flash your speed that we can put messages on was through a grant, so it didn't cost us anything. It was all because we engaged with the community, different programs, and got on board, and they were able to do that. We're very close partners with WeCan. We also work with IOCP, depending on which area, so we provide things to them. Every year when we have spring cleanup, everybody, or lots of people bring old bikes or damaged bikes, the ones that we find in our community that are abandoned. We take those and we have partnerships with several hardware stores, and then they get refurbished. We give them to WeCan and distribute them for free in our community. Some of the other things we do, child safety inspections. School involvement. We do a lot with both Mount West Tonka schools and Orono schools. We're involved with our SROs, different programs. These are some of them where we got the mock trial down in the lower left. We go out and shoot trap with the Orono High School trap team. We have yet to win or even be competitive. So thank you for those that sponsor, and support that. We have a great team for doing that. High School Forensics Day. This is where we have contact with about 80 to 90 students twice a year, where they come to our police department, we get mature, they get to do hands-on, seeing different aspects, and it gets to put them in our shoes so they know what's going on. And really this has an impact on those kids. They have one-on-one communication and contact with the police department, and those officers, they also get to see what we do, and gives them an understanding. And there's not a time where students haven't come to us and said thanks, and that it really opened their eyes. They really didn't know what to expect or what they thought of police services was different until they've gone through this program. Other community partnerships, like I said, with the speed trailer, we have a Reserve and Explorer program that is great for youth to get involved in our community. We use their services and volunteer for traffic assistance. They do house checks, and they do several other community services parts with us. This is what I want to focus on. And if you notice the date, please write this down, April 25th. So that is our city cleanup day. Please, if you go to your cabinets, go to your house, tell your friends, this is where we have the prescription drug take back. All the unused, unwanted prescription pills that are in your house, please bring them to the cleanup. If you cannot make it during that time, we also provide, as you can see in the center, their Deterra drug bags, their prescription pills. Come to our office, we will give you a bag, you take it home, the instructions are on the back, you open it up, put your unwanted pills, each bag can contain, or hold up to 45, you add water, wait for the packet to let off some oxygen bubbles, and then seal it, you can throw it in your trash. It's safe to do so. What we're trying to do is we're seeing in our community, last year we had 9 individuals in our community that we had drug overdoses that we brought back with Narcan. We had 2 that did not make it. So we see this as a problem. Part of the heroin epidemic, also with prescription drugs. We want you to remove them from your cabinets, take those out of our community, and this is several ways of doing that. If you see this picture on the the $11 from 2 years ago, we took in 118 pounds of unwanted prescription drugs, pills, patches, and liquids, and other so forth. No questions asked. You don't have to be part of the community. You can tell your neighbors from other areas if they're going to be here. Please drop them off. April 25th. National Night Out. So we'll be partaking this in your neighborhood groups, in your community centers. National Night Out. It's a great way for the fire department and police department to go out into our communities and be a part of that. We have coffee with the cop, cone with the cop, and my favorite, donuts with the cop. So, and these are all just other programs that are interactive so that we can be part of the community and go up. And this is one of my favorites, and Trinity Church participates in this. We give sort of certificates to different organizations to auction off. And right to school with the police chief. So on these, the Trinity auctions several of these off, one of the schools, different organizations, and I'll be honest with you, this is one of my favorite parts of the job because we get to go to their house, we pick them up, bring them back, give them a quick tour, but it's that one-on-one connection, and most of the time they coordinate it with birthdays and things like that. The family gets it for the kids, and it's wonderful and is a great time. We have an officer that will go to your house, go to your business, give you ideas on crime prevention, but also will go through with the business to talk about what things can be done to make your house, make your business a little bit more safe. They'll give you tips on how to do so, and crime prevention, that's a good way. Xerxes. How many people know our community service dog Xerxes? How many of you have seen him? So he's been in for about a year and a half now. So that was a partnership with Canyon Canine. So I don't want to say that he was a reject dog from Canyon Canine, but he was trained as a therapy dog to help people with disabilities. And he was a little high strung. So we developed a partnership with Canyon Canines, and they gave us Xerxes on a pilot program to bring him in. We can't call him a therapy dog because he doesn't have the official credentials to go in as a therapy. We call him our community service dog. But as you can see here, our picture on the right, he is super friendly. He gets along with anybody and everybody, and not only does he help us in our community on mental health concerns and issues, but he spends a lot of time at our office. And he's also very beneficial to our officers after having, difficult times that we sometimes have to go through. He is a breath of fresh air and always excited to see anybody and everybody, especially if you have a treat. Heart Safe Community. This is another partnership that we partnered with Long Lake Fire to provide compression-only CPR in our community. And as of last year, we did get our designation as Heart Safe Community. Over 10,000 people in our community have been trained in compression-only. We've done it at both Orono schools, Mountain West Tonka schools, and we continue to provide this service. And with that certification, what that means is we've identified heart starts or the AEDs in our community so that if someone calls to Hennepin County Dispatch and says that they're going through a situation, they can identify and tell them where the closest AED or the business that they're at has one inside it. So this was a great program both for police, fire, and our community. Growth Through Opportunity was another project that we partnered with the Orono High Schools with. We took 2 individuals with special needs and we brought them into our police department for 10 weeks and taught them job skills and how to be productive in society. And we have Pierce and Alex. Sydney was our prior one. She was on the pilot program. She has a job at Culver's, and Pierce and Alex. I know Pierce got a job, I can't remember where because he used us as a reference. But it's a great program to introduce, once again, Pierce, everybody knows Pierce, great guy, and but Alex had a little bit, she was a little different in that she was sort of afraid of police and people in uniform at the beginning, and once she got introduced, started going through some of these programs, introductions, and doing these job skills, she became very well adapted to what we're doing and learning those skills. This is my favorite, the pull and plunge. Every year, so second year with the pull and plunge in Mount. If you are available next February, we'll be doing once again Lake Minnetonka, and there again is another partnership. I don't know how the fire department does it. They're in their Mustang suits and sitting in the water, doing that and helping, making sure everybody's safe. And why does this matter? You know, police sometimes aren't seen in the best of light, both in media and sometimes at higher levels. Why do we do that? We want to be part of the community. We are not just individuals in blue going around and, you know, causing disruption in people's lives and making people late for work. No, we're going out, we want to be members of our community because there's situations that happen in our community when we have that engagement, when we have that public trust. It means a lot more to us, and we deal with a lot of different situations in our community. But it's because of community involvement, so that we have the same expectations as our community, and the community has the same expectations of us. It's that positive interaction, similar expectations. We know what's expected of them, and so forth. We have a positive image. When we need support from the community, it's that public support that we need. And if we didn't have those connections with the community, how can we expect you to support us in that time of need? Now let's get into what happened, what we had last year, in 2019 for our community. These are the situations or incidents that we've had in our community last year. We had 298 investigated cases, 235 arrests, with those being DWI, domestic, theft. We had some burglars that we caught, 31 death investigations, 39 vulnerable adult cases that were referred to Henry County Adult Protection, 128 handgun permits to purchase applications, 118 thefts. That's what I want to talk about. How can we prevent those? In the spring, now with the nicer weather, we have individuals that go up and they want to look for easy targets. The easiest target is when you park your vehicle in your driveway, leave items in it, and what we're seeing in a lot of these thefts is that we very rarely see individuals breaking windows in vehicles. They are going to unlock vehicles. They're checking to see if it's unlocked, going to neighborhoods, walking through the neighborhoods, checking for unlocked vehicles. If they find them, they rummage through it to see if there's anything inside of value, and then they'll take that to get money for whatever reasons. Please lock your vehicles. The simplest things, lock your vehicles, take your items of value out of the vehicle, and even if you're running in for a quick lunch break for a half hour, do not leave your purse, laptop, computers, iPhones, whatnot inside. We're also seeing a lot of these frauds. I like to put some of those into the scams. We're seeing a lot of different scams where individuals are calling, asking for money. Please, if you are concerned that maybe this is legit, ask for a telephone number that you can call back. Most of these, they are always changing their tactics somehow. Now we're going to see the IRS, you know, a phone call from somebody claiming they're from the IRS, they need your social security number, they need your credit card number to verify things. Please, do not verify or get any information over the phone, especially related to your social security number, credit card, and so on and so forth. We also see people that, once again, motor vehicle thefts. We had 6 of them. Every one of those, keys are in the ignition or keys are left in the vehicle. Please do not leave your vehicle for that. 31 burglary cases. A lot of those were related to the same crew that was coming out of North Minneapolis last year that we saw last spring. I think you saw it in the media quite often. They hit from Lakeville all the way to Big Lake, and we are an easy target, so to speak, because we are a straight shot from downtown Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, out on Highway 12, and we saw County Road 6 in that area. We saw a lot of these burglaries because they come out, take the highways out, start taking the back roads, and start hitting neighborhoods and burglarizing them. 38 assault cases, 22 criminal sexual, and then we had 1 homicide. So that was the Irwin Jacobs homicide that we had, the murder-suicide. This way I also want to highlight, when you don't see this too much, we don't advertise this, we do have a drug problem in our area, in our community, in the state, in Henry County, all over. Don't be surprised by this, that it's just that the media, things do not report it. We hear a lot about the heroin, we see when there's an overdose, but I just want to show you, this is our West Metro Drug Task Force. This is a combination with the cities of Lake Plain, Independence, Medina, and then Krista, and Henry County has 2. Look at these, look at these numbers right here. I want to really point this out to you. Meth, 152 pounds. That's not ounces, 152 pounds. And what's nice about our drug task force is that we do not let boundaries, city boundaries, stop us. Most of these cases are initiated either with contact in a home or on a traffic stop. We then follow it to the bigger fish, so to speak. But I want to have that sink in, 152. In one of those cases, we took out 50 pounds where they brought it in duffel bags. I don't want to get on my political platform, but they say that, when they say, well, nah, words are fine. All of this, majority of all of this, are coming across the border from Mexico. We're tracking vehicles, and we have tractors that come up here and drop it off. We have tractors that are on vehicles in Mexico as we speak, that we're just waiting for them to come back in, and we'll take them off once they get back up to Minnesota and our community. So, as you see here, heroin, 67 grams. It's difficult to catch people with heroin because it's in such a small amount, or when individuals are buying it, as soon as they purchase it, they're finding a street and shooting up with it right away. We're not taking a lot of the heroin off. But that's part of it, is that also the scare. You're seeing people with overdose because heroin is being laced with fentanyl. That's what's causing these overdoses. Meth is coming back. It is super cheap. But right now, meth is coming back due to the fact that the cost has been lowered drastically. Some of the other things that we're seeing is the THC purchases. I talked a little bit about this last year with the vaping. So most of the time when you see individuals vaping, majority of the time they're vaping THC or the cartridges. And like I said last year at the same meeting, what do these look like? Do you think those are targeting adults that are over the age of 21? Do you think those are targeting this group here? Look at, you have a Gorilla Glue, grape, Stomper, all this. Do you think this is targeting adults? Do you think this is targeting 50 to 60-year-olds? No, it's targeting kids. And that's exactly who it's going after. Once again, gelato, Skittles. This isn't targeting adults. This is targeting kids and making it more available to them. One of the other things that we're still seeing is the wax. So they're taking the green leafy substance, pouring butane over it, then drying it out, and they get the THC, they put it in a crock pot, the fluid, and melt it down or dry it out to get this wax, and then they're smoking it, and they're vaping that as well. Crime prevention tips. Quickly, just lock your doors, remove items from your vehicles. If you see something suspicious, call it in. What we're finding out a lot of times is that when we have incidents that are happening in communities, we go back to those communities and ask them, and go door to door and ask them, and say, oh yeah, I did see that vehicle, or I did see something strange. Please, if you see something strange, call us, let us know. The scams that we talked about, please do not give your personal information out. And before we go to questions, Gina.
Corey was talking about scams. On Friday, I was called by the IRS and said there was a arrest warrant out for me, and the cops were coming to get me. So I went over to the police department and said, hey, I'm here. So they don't do that, all right? They're not going to give you a heads up that they're coming out to get you. Yeah, exactly. They look out for just this. So Long Lake Fire Department. So the Long Lake Fire Department, founded April 11th, 1950. We currently have 2 fire stations. One down in the bar area over by the Dairy Queen. The other one is off of Willow. The larger one off of Willow, that's where we host the pancake breakfast, which is coming up April 26th. So mark your calendars for that. We have a unique partnership with a bunch of different cities, so we cover all of Warren, all of Long Lake, all of Minnetonka Beach, and kind of the southern portion of Medina. So we have about approximately 40 firefighters. All of them but one are paid on call, so I'm the only full-time person at the fire station. Everybody else is a volunteer or paid on call, so they're just like you. They all carry pagers. When the pagers go off, if they're available to respond, they respond. And then 2019, we responded to a little over 400 calls, and I've got another slide and we'll break some of that down as we go on. Training every Monday night. So we do training every Monday night at fire station, whether it's fire station 1 or fire station 2. If you are ever interested to see what we're doing, stop in on a Monday night at about 7 o'clock, and we'll let you know everything that's going on. So everything from the EMS training that we do, we did some elevator training last year. We try and do some live fire training. So the one kind of in the middle there to the left, that was a home off of over in Medina that we were able to utilize for some live fire training. So we partner with area fire departments, they come out and help us too. And then the one on the far right That was up at Camp Ripley. So we sent some people up to Camp Ripley to do some training up there too. It's a great facility. Yeah. So at the schools, we do a bunch of different things at the schools, from fire prevention education to poster contests to participating with our Sparky and some of the parades and stuff like that. So it's a great time to be up there to educate the kids about what to do and what not to do, whether it's from what to do in a fire or anything like that. So we're always up at the schools. We go to daycares, and whether they're at home or the institutional ones, either of them. So. Community events. I talked a little bit about the pancake breakfast on the far left. Those two individuals have been cooking pancakes, I think, for us since the 70s. So they've got it down, I can tell you that. It's a great event. So April 26th, so after the cleanup, which was the 25th, I think you said, clean up your house, bring all the junk over to Orno and get rid of it, and the prescription drugs, and then the next day you can come over to the fire station and enjoy some pancakes. We have a 5K, a memorial 5K, and then we participate in a lot of parades and those types of things too. So. Just some other things, our fire prevention open house, we do the safe trick-or-treating that starts at the fire station. And then the new one that's kind of started out in Montana is kind of the Light at the Lake ones, which happens the weekend of Thanksgiving. Fire trucks get to decorate all of the fancy stuff, and they're kind of driving down the street. So that one's a lot of fun. That goes along with their tree lighting ceremony too, and then we do the tree lighting in the Orno also. So call breakdowns, as you see here, 415 calls. Obviously, Orno has about 280 of them. Long Lake, there was 67. Medina, 16. Minnetonka Beach was 38. Mutual aid calls, so those are aid to other fire departments, so other fire departments that are out with fires or anything like that. 14 of them. So last year, we went to 14 mutual aid calls outside of our city, and we asked for mutual aid fall time. So that's kind of how it goes. It's a little give and take. Typically, it's either one or the other, or a couple ahead and a couple behind. But it's a great partnership with the area fire departments that utilize the box model system. So, common causes of fires that you see across the state of Minnesota on the far left, cooking by far is the #1 cause, right? And that can be broken down in a couple of different ways, right? Unintended equipment, so you hear it all the time. I just put something on the stove, I went to do something, and all of a sudden the fire alarm's going off, right? The kitchen's on fire, those types of things. So please stay, when you have something on the stove, please stay there. Equipment not turned on or accidentally turned on, and that happens with animals sometimes too. So if you put something on your, like donuts or cookies or anything like that, we had a fire, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody had some Christmas cookies that they put on top of their stove, went out for the evening, the dog decided to feel a little hungry and wanted a treat, got actually up on the stove and clipped the burner on, and that started the fire. Or combustibles too close. Is another cause of the cooking fire. Careless burnings, electrical, appliance, heating, open flames, those are kind of finishing out those top 5 for, and that's statewide. That's not just here. So. We did go to Becker and helped out at the recycling plant fire. They put out a statewide mutual aid call. So our pay-on-call volunteers took it upon themselves. We organized a couple of different task forces to go out there. We were out there on so that would have been the 18th, and also the 19th of February this past year. Our engine that went out there flowed over 200,000 gallons, and that was to an aerial apparatus from Ramsey. And then our tanker was out there actually on 3 different shifts, and they shoveled over 100,000 gallons of water. And that's a 3,500 gallon tanker, so you can kind of do the math there. They were kind of running quite a bit on those 3 different shifts. And those shifts were set up in 6-hour intervals. We drove out there and then helped them out. And we just got most of our equipment back right now. There was some equipment that ended up needing to be thrown away because it was contaminated with some stuff. So, but that was a huge fire for Becker. It overwhelmed their resources really quick. They put up the call for statewide mutual aid to the State Chiefs Association, and we were able to help out. So this was kudos to our individuals, because our individuals that did it, you know, the shifts were from basically midnight to 6 in the morning or 6 at night to midnight, right? So they're taking their time out of their day and they're getting up and they're going to their normal day-to-day job the next day. So we have an amazing group of individuals that serve our communities, and hats off to them. I can't talk highly enough of them. They're fantastic. So that's what I have. Questions for either Corey or myself?
Okay, I just want to say too that, like it to Stacy, that these two are incredibly helpful to Trinity. We often have shenanigans in the parking lot near the woods, and I'm always, hey, please can you come over? James has helped us as our fire system went out and we put a new one in. They do training for us, intruder training. Police department just led staff through a training so that we can be prepared should something happen.
I have a question. We live on a private road and there's no hydrant near us. And what do you do? Like, do you recommend like a private road to put in a hydrant, or do you just bring in the pump trucks?
So, very good question. We're getting a lot of them after the fire over at Woodland, right? That huge fire over at Woodland that did not have hydrants either. So, like we talked about at the Becker fire, so we have two water tanks that just carry water. One is 3,500 gallons of water, one is 2,000 gallons of water. And then we call in a task force also to help us from our surrounding communities to bring and shovel water to us at that location. It's difficult on a private road if there's not a municipal supply in the area to be able to bring hydrants to your house, right? There are other things that you can do. So, one, and I was going to talk to Corey about this too, I got contacted, they're looking to do for their community or for their little neighborhood, kind of an in-ground tank that would store some water there that we can pull out of. That's one. A lot of time insurance companies will require for some of the larger homes that are out around Lake Minnetonka. We have a few of the different ones that have in-ground tanks that we can pull out of. So those are different things that you can do. Another thing that you could do is to give me a call, and I will definitely go through your house with you, and we'll identify problem areas that could be causes of fires. Because that's the number one thing, right, is to never have a fire. So if we can do that, we can identify those areas ahead of time, much like Officer Boyd does for some of the crime stuff. We can definitely do that for you too.
Good morning, this is for the police chief. First of all, thank you both for your service to the community. I don't think you can ever hear that enough. But on behalf of everyone here, thank you. One thing that stuck out with me was the fact that the methamphetamine had increased by 100% in the past year. And with that, I'm curious, with being that we're in the western suburbs where land tends to be a little bit more abundant, and there tends to be a little bit more privacy, are you worried, or have you in the past had any issues with production of methamphetamine in your jurisdiction?
We are not seeing, rarely do we see production. It's been years since we've had it started to produce, due to the fact that, you know, in that aspect, the government got things right in that not allowing people to go in and buy the products and Sudafed to produce their own methamphetamines. What we're seeing, all the stuff that was seized has all been brought in from outside. We are rarely seeing production here. And when I say outstate, most of this is being produced in other countries. It's being brought in from all over the world to these areas. We're seeing it brought in by port to ports in Oregon, Washington, by ship. So when I say borders, I don't mean just the Mexican border. I don't mean it's ports that need security and brought in, because almost all this stuff is being manufactured outside the country and brought in. So methamphetamine, it's rare that we even find 10 years ago, meth labs were prevalent. If you saw a fish house up in, Aiken County, Mille Lacs County, when you're talking about you want to be out in the middle of nowhere and have your privacy, we're not seeing it produced here anymore.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about the house fire that we started off at the beginning of the week with a big thing. Do you all know there was a house fire down County Road 6 on Willow that ended with one death?
Absolutely. I can talk a little bit about that. So we were paged approximately 2250 for a house fire. Orono PD were first on scene, along with Henry County Sheriff's Department, correct? They did see two individuals kind of wandering outside the building. At the time, the main level was heavy smoke and flames. We had a really good response, quick, is what I mean by really good. We had two fire trucks there, with 1,000 gallons each, within approximately 5 minutes. The reason that they were so quick was because we were actually out on a fire alarm call that we were paged to about 15 minutes before that on the other side of Orono, on the other side of Long Lake. So when our first truck arrived on scene, similar thing, there was flames and smoke throughout that main level. We were told that initially we were told that 3 people were unaccounted for. That was updated by the PD to having 2 unaccounted for. And the third person was supposedly in an upstairs bedroom. So we concentrated our efforts to try and get up into that upstairs bedroom because their means of egress down the steps was cut off due to the heavy smoke and heavy flames. We got into that room a little bit, at least initially, right under the windowsill and around that area. It was a pretty open room. We couldn't find anybody in at that point in time. So then we concentrated our efforts on trying to put the fire out. Once we put the fire out, we did find an individual who perished in the fire. So that's not a good thing. I've been in the fire service since 1996, and this is only my second fire fatality that I've been involved with. So it doesn't happen that often. It's my understanding from some of you may know Kelly Shaughnessy. He's been on the department for almost 44 years. His family's been involved in the department for longer than that. And he believes that this is our first fire fatality ever in Long Lake for Long Lake Fire Department.
How did you start this career? Why did you get into this crazy business?
Why did I get into the crazy business of being in the fire service? Well, you hear this story quite a bit. So my grandfather was a volunteer firefighter. My father was a volunteer firefighter, and I just kind of followed in their footsteps, to be honest with you. Started in '96 with the Chaska Fire Department, took my father's position on that department. He was chief of that department. Worked my way up to the ranks there. So I look at it as I felt more satisfaction from being a volunteer and doing that than I did for my full-time job. So, as I went through kind of my inventory of life one year, going through my goals and everything as you do on New Year's Day and those types of things, I'm like, how can I do this full-time? And so that's really what I concentrated on. And I took the classes that I needed to take, and the opportunity arose with the city of Long Lake and the Long Lake Fire Department. I got very lucky to be chosen as the fire chief here. I'll say that again and again. I have one of the greatest jobs in the world. I love it every day. So so that's kind of how I got involved with it. It's just very, very satisfying to be able to help a community out. So that's
Well, that's kind of, I think you have a difficult job because you have to get volunteers, and getting a volunteer, somebody that, would go out at any time of the night, and, we have a couple volunteer fire people from Trinity, and their wives will say, oh, he was out all night, or, and then they go to their other job.
true, absolutely. One of the challenges that we have in today's world, and Corey can attest to this too, and the police side too, is to be able to get the people to volunteer their time, right? Everybody is really busy nowadays, especially if you have kids, and all the traveling, everything that goes on, whether it's dance, soccer, baseball, hockey, whatever it is. And trying to find just time to be able to help out your community is difficult. And Then on top of that, so by the way, you're going to help out your community, but there is a chance that you're going to go into a burning building and those types of things. So not everybody wants to help with that, and I get that. But we have 39 individuals. We actually are just hiring one new one down at Station 2. So we'll have 40 individuals, paid up all individuals that'll be helping us out. They do a fantastic job. It is a lot of work. Every Monday night, they're at training for a couple hours. There's a lot of requirements that they have to fill in to be able to do the job that they do and be as professional as they are. Even though they're paid on call, the challenges and the things that we go through are no different than a full-time professional fire department. So they put in a lot of extra hours and they're the ones that we members.
Corey, how did you get into policing?
Well, I started my career out as an accounting major. And no offense to those in the audience, but it was just boring. I couldn't see myself sitting behind the desk crunching numbers day to day. So to be honest with you, I was up at Duluth. I had friends, and my twin brother was down in Mankato. So I opened up the catalog for Mankato, started looking through and go, law enforcement, that sounds interesting. I have no past relatives that were in law enforcement, so this was something new, and decided to take adventure on that because I wanted a challenge, but also very much I didn't want to sit behind the desk doing the same thing every day, and that's what it is. Every day is different. You never know what challenges, what's going to impact the community on a daily basis, and it was just that sort of sense of I want something different every day and not knowing what's going to happen, and it's lived up to that expectation and doing that, and I enjoy it. I've been with the Warren Police Department since, let's see, I'll be going on 25 years starting in July. July of 1995 was when I started as an intern, volunteer, and from that point I've continued to, was hired as an officer, continued and held every position except deputy chief, because that was created 7 years ago when we brought on the Mount Police Department. So held every position within the police department and 12 years as chief of global government.
We have people not only from Orono, Long Lake, we have our Wayzata contingent here that lives downtown Wayzata. How do you work with Wayzata?
Very closely. We work with them on a daily basis, and Chief Griswold with the community. We're all small police departments, so when we do happen, just like the fire department, we can't do everything when we have something larger that happens in our community, even special events that occur in our community events. We all come together and the resources, we share personnel. So when we have an incident, you should be comfortable in knowing that we do provide mutual aid, like Chief Benal said. We do support our other communities around us, and we go and assist them as needed. And like a lot of applies with them, we work hand in hand. We are on several different partnerships with our SWAT team. Different aspects. We have a Lake Area Emergency Management Group that we get together every other month and speak sometimes monthly. So we work very closely with our partners in our communities and other chiefs and fire departments. The question is, are we still involved in the Highway 12 Safety Coalition? Yes. And one of the updates on that, we just had a meeting this last Thursday. One of the updates is that in 2021, Highway 12 is going to see some significant changes. From County Road 6 west to Maple Plain, they will start the barrier. So there will be a barrier in 2021 established going to Maple Plain, as well as County Road 90 interchange. We'll have a roundabout, and the County Road 92, they're going to realign those and do some overpasses and connect those. So you're going to see a lot of changes, which is also going to impact our community because Highway 12 is going to be shut down for a period of time. So you're going to see increased traffic in County Road 6, County Road 15, Highway 55, 24, all those corridors. We are working with MnDOT, we're working with the county because in 2021, County Road 6 can be a major impact. We're working with them to say, what can we do to make sure that our county roads coming through our communities, and a lot because of these detours and the road construction, what can we do? So we're working with them to get some safety signs. We're looking at maybe reducing the speeds during that construction due to that, but it's all working with the county, so it's all a work in progress. So yes, we are still members of the Highway 12 Safety Coalition. Yeah, so next year we're also going to see some impact to our community. The Narrows Bridge, County Road 19, as you go south into Excelsior, that bridge will be closed just after the springtime. So they're gonna wait till boats get into the marinas and access, and then that bridge will be closed for a period of probably 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the construction. So that's gonna have impact because it will be a full closure. We're also gonna see work start on the Tanager Bridge on County Road 15. What they're hoping with that is that there won't be complete closures, there'll be partial lane closures. Their intent is to build the bridge next to it, and then once it's built, slide it in onto County Road 15. So you'll see intermittent closures, but it will not be a complete closure. So we're gonna have several impacts in our community if you wanna go in and around the lake with County Road 15, County Road 19, there's projects all over. Please go to the Henry County website for traffic management. They have all the projects listed for our community and surrounding communities for 2020. This is construction season, and 2021.
Good question. Our time is up, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming together as a community, and you are appreciated, like Rich said.